Why, hello there, folks. Dylan here. I'm here with my recap of my most recent event at the time of recording this, 2Moon2Mars. I competed in the 150 gram, 1 pound, and 3 pound classes, and this video will detail how it all went. Now, I know you're here to watch the robots fight and not hear me talk a whole bunch, though I will. So without further ado, let's begin! First off is my fairweight Scrapper S0. I don't really have anything to say. I got chucked into the pit in less than 3 seconds in my first fight, and then had no weapon in my second fight, though at least I lasted the full 3 minutes. To be perfectly honest, although Scrapper Zero has won a tournament, I need something bigger and better, so I'm retiring this design and building a whole brand new one from scratch. Speaking of bot retirements, I'm sad to say that Scrapper S1 has been retired. What? No, not the robot. Rather, using Viper kits for my robot. After Croc, I decided that it was time to move on to something new. Thank you for your service, Viper kits. You've served me well. Now then, it's time to reveal to you all the new Scrapper S1. So then, drum roll, please. Behold, the new Scrapper S1! Yep, that's right, it's got the synthwave kit now. Why? Well, you know the old saying, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em. So, hopefully I'll be doing much better than this with the Vipers. There's just one minor problem, which is that I bought the Synthwave Pro kit, which came with both the 4-in-1 ESC and repeat brushless drive. And I'm not quite sure which of these two caused it, but if I drove it in just the right sort of way, one of the drive sides would just stop working and I'd have to let off the sticks for a few seconds for it to kick back in. My best guess is the brushless system is sensorless, and so it's just using the back EMF to find the motor's position. But if it happens to position itself in just the right way, then the commutation order gets thrown off and the controller has to reset. But that wasn't the only problem, or really the biggest one. No, the biggest one was the drive was just way too fast. And combine that with the drive cutting out and, well, me never actually getting a chance to really drive it at all. That meant controlling this thing was an absolute nightmare. But anyways, the first bench for Scrapper S1 was against copyright infringement, who's basically a hard counter for synthwave kits. Oh, great. Three, 2, 1, go. 2 minutes. Battle. Move around that arena very quickly. You get air on one side of the 2-wheel roll. 9, 8. Again, 10, 9, 8. All right. 30 seconds left in the match. And taking each other around the ring now. Copyrights do a pretty good job of pinning. Come into the corner. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Start flying the weapons and start 10 seconds, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This match is going to a judge's decision. So I'll have to gather here with my judges and we'll give you a... So yeah, that didn't go well at all. Shocking. This was really just me learning how the heck I'm supposed to drive this thing, as, to be perfectly honest, this was the first time I'd been able to properly drive it, and the drive cutting out certainly did not help matters any. That combined with my opponent being a control bot designed specifically to beat mine, yeah, as if I was gonna win this. Anyways, Scrapper S1's next match was against Pancake, a horizontal spinner with a TPU chassis and carbon fiber top and bottom panels. To be perfectly honest, I had little hope going into this fight, and I fully expected to get my tires buzzed right off me and be out. So let's just get this mess over with.
Ready. Blue team. Blue team ready. Alright, countdown begin. 3, 2, 1, battle! Massive separation event. Just over here, people. A massive separation event. I don't know. It's pretty much done. Alright.
Well, damn. That went far better than I'd expected. After fighting through the drive issues, I managed to get the 2-hit combo I needed. The first hit pulled the left side of Pancake's frame loose, and then once it landed, I got a second hit on that same part, and since it was sticking out, I got far more bite and ripped every single one of the heat inserts holding their top plate out right out of their frame, and left their guts all over the arena. Yes! Anyways, Scrapper S1's next fight was a rematch against Peregrine, a scalar kit I'd faced at December Destruction. Now, the last time we faced off, I got my gearbox shafts pulled loose and was just dead in the water. My plan this time, though, was to go weapon to weapon as much as I could, and see. So let's see how that worked out.
Battle! Go Peregrine!
Oh, that's the drive one.
Dead, Dylan. Back away, he's dead. He's getting counted out. Leave him alone.
Well, that was pretty simple. And easy. I opted to take things slower this time, which I think really helped. Now, Peregrine got their wheels buzzed off early in the day by Nacho Libre, which incited a reaction from everyone so intense that it was just amazing. I can't really describe it. Anyway.
Oh! Yeah! Get the other one! Yeah!
Anyway, Peregrine had to swap to the spare bot after that, which apparently wasn't working right. So a good tap was all that I had to deliver to it to kill it. Now, I did lose a tire, but thankfully the hub beneath it was fine, so I didn't lose any ability to drive. Though, since I hadn't brought a single spare wheel, I just hot glued the tire back onto the hub, and Scrapper S1 was good to go. Scrapper S1's next fight was against Triple Nickel Express, yet another scalar kit. I really don't have anything else to say. Plan was the same as last time, so let's get to it.
Oh, he lost his weapon.
it, boys.
Welp, that didn't go well. We started exchanging big hits with each other, and I was mostly losing, until on the fourth big hit, he actually caught my left drive belt and ingested it into his weapon, which prevented it from spinning. This would have been a huge game changer for me, except for a small and minor detail, which is that the left drive side more or less died from that exchange, and I don't know why. As the back tire was still intact, and I should have been able to drive. Though, my own best guess, to be perfectly honest, is the tire just couldn't contact the floor, so there was nothing on that side. Basically, I was on half drive from that point afterwards. To make matters even worse, the belt that jammed Triple Nickel Express's weapon eventually came free, and he was able to spin again and did a ton of damage. I did get some chunks out of his top panel, and even nearly pulled one of his wheels off, but that was nothing compared to how badly I got mangled. All four of the wheels were completely toast, one dead shaft was bent, my upper ends were bent, one over so far the weapon cut a channel through it. And with that, Scrapper S1 had taken its second loss and was out of the tournament. Ah well. As for what's next for Scrapper S1, I'll be sticking with the synthwave kit for the time being, but swapping out the internals for the ones for my Viper kids. They've proven to be far more reliable than the brushless solution all-in-one controller the bot's using. I'll also sure to bring some spare wheels and drive belts next time, so don't have to worry about, not having any wheels or belts if the ones I'm using get destroyed. I would have bought some more, but this was just a test trial more than anything to see if this was even viable, and I'd say it's looking promising. So I'll keep trying it for now. Now then, moving on to my third and final bot, Scrapper S3. I actually didn't make many changes from when it last fought at Croc. The only thing I changed was the drive, though not entirely. I kept the same Viper motors with 6mm shafts, but swapped back to Fingertech foam tires to both prevent all the shock from a hit on my wheel ripping the shaft out of the gearbox, and also to make way for some TPU wheel guards, which doubled as an anti-thing system on Scrapper S3, since it can't get down from its back or side with the foam tires. However, it can get stuck on its side, but for that to happen, it had to be very, very gently placed on the side without the weapon functioning, so I opted to take my chances. Swapping to this drive system also actually saved enough weight for me to run forks. Though while it wasn't enough for me to run the AR500 ones I ran at Cougar Fall Cup, I was able to run my old titanium forks from my old Fingertech beater bar days, though in hindsight I really shouldn't have used them unless I needed to, as they hit the arena wall before my weapon does, making self-riding difficult. I was easily able to gyro back upright with no wheel guards, but obviously I don't have that luxury without them, though maybe I could redesign them to make self-riding easier. And for some strange reason, maybe stupid reason would be more accurate, instead of measuring out where the heck I was supposed to put holes in the part to have it printed with those holes, I decided to drill them out manually. Was this a good idea? No. It was pretty difficult to do, and in fact, impossible to get the holes aligned perfectly. Though, because it's TPU we're talking about, it didn't really matter, since it could flex and still fit. So then, tournament time. Now, Scrapper S3 was one of the 4 bots in the bracket that got a bye into the second round. So his first throw would be against Chihuahua, a Peter Beckett-styled robot, which, fun fact, was built by what I believe, if I remember correctly, was a group of college students. Though, well, I don't know if they were, actually. What I do know is they had to build it within, like, a $150 budget. Again, assuming I'm remembering correctly, which I'm probably not. And it shows, considering the top panel and a bunch of other stuff is zip-tied in place, and they're using a rocker switch to power their bot on and off. All that being said, the strategy was the same as it always is against these Peter Bar-style kids. Go weapon to weapon as often as possible, and keep flipping them on their back. So they can struggle while upside down, or at least rip the teeth out of their weapon. Now then, on to the fight.
Team ready. Blue team. Are you ready? Okay, blue team. Chihuahua is ready. Countdown begins. 3, 2, 1. Battle!
So, yeah, things didn't quite go according to plan. As you might have heard me say, my steering was backwards, which made driving damn near impossible, and Chihuahua got some really solid hits on me. Thankfully, the rocket situation couldn't take the shock of a big hit, so once I got a decent bite on them, their robot died and I won. I did actually take a pretty big chunk of their weapon tooth off on that hit. That was basically the only damage that they took. I, on the other hand, took a good bit of damage. Charlie managed to tear off the rear of the right wheel guard by, mouthing the screw holes, and also mouthed the hole, and also mouthed one of the screw holes up front, and partially mouthed another. They even got some good cuts into the wheel guard, leaving a perfect path of their weapon in it, and even splitting it along the layer lines. The most impressive and scary hit was the one on the top. Now looking at the fight footage, you don't look too bad, right? Well, here it is up close. Yeah, I'm guessing their weapon caught the side of a vent in the top panel and just plowed right on through. Oh, and those wires? 2 are for the indicator LED, 2 are the wires to a drive motor, and one of those is a power wire. You know, a wire that delivers power from the battery to the rest of the robot. And if Chihuahua gotten even a millimeter deeper, they would have cut those wires and left me dead. Thankfully, that didn't happen. Whew. Now, I really have no clue why the drive was acting so strange. Nah, the bot in that fight is the original Scrapper S3, or at least the few parts left from it. Those being the power distribution blocks, power switch, and receiver. I noticed the bot wasn't driving well at the start and fiddled around with my transmitter trying to get it to at least drive in a straight line, and I did, but I had a channel on my transmitter inverted, and to get the bot driving straight I had to flip it back to normal, but that inverted the turning, of course. My best guess is that it might just be simply the case of a part being worn out due to exceeding its service life. The part in question being the receiver in that. I've used this exact same receiver since Scrapper S3's debut at Mother's Day Melee all the way back in May 2022. Maybe it's just its time after 2 years of service. But then again, maybe not. Again, I'm not really sure what the issue was. Now, normally I would have caught something like this in testing before leaving the event, but my 3D printer was for some reason just refusing to even print the red CPU wheel guards. So I just spent basically all my time trying to find out why and had no time to really thoroughly test any of my bots. So after that fight, I decided to not run the original bot for the rest of the day and swapped over to my second spare bot. A quick drive test outside, with the weapon disabled and locked. I'm not that stupid. Proving its drive was working as it should. So, since the spare bot was already ready to go, try saying that 3 times fast, I just waited for my next match, which, was a rematch against Chaos. Hoo boy. Now, Chaos is a beater bar kit, and we have fought before at Cougar Fall Cup 2023. In that fight, I was winning until one of my wheel guards fell off due to a loose set screw, and then Chaos placed me perfectly on my ass, which I thought I would be able to get down from as I had done Robotic earlier that year, but at the time I was using Banebot's wheels, which were much heavier than the Fingertech foam tires I'd been using against Chaos, so while the Banebot tires allowed me to get down from my ass, the foam tires didn't have enough weight to do that, so I lost. This time I had geometry to prevent myself from getting stuck on my ass, so I should be able to just do the regular strategy against Chaos that I do for all Peter Bar style bots, as I mentioned earlier against Chihuahua. So then, let's see how that went.
Three, two, one, battle!
Tapping out.
Now that's how Scrapper S3 is supposed to work. Now, while Chaos did get a chunk off one of my tires, Chaos certainly took the worst of the damage in this fight, so I ripped loose one of the sides and got a tire. I also got a new favorite frame and moment, that frame being this frame right here. Yeah. Moments for disaster, anyone? Anyway, my new favorite moment is just that hit. I just love going through the footage of this hit frame by frame. If you want to go back and look through any of the fights in this video, by the way, frame by frame, you can just use the period and comma key if you're on a PC. If you're on mobile, sorry, as far as I know, there's no way to watch videos frame by frame on the mobile app or website. Because I'm such a nice guy, though. Here, I'll go ahead and put the footage in slow motion for you. Surprisingly, Chaos was still totally functional, and his driver simply got scared and tapped out, which was a smart thing for her to do. I also, quite literally, at the time of writing this, found out that she was only running her weapon at 50%, which, while enough for most bots, not a very good move against Scrapper S3. Whew. Anyway, she managed to get her bot back together and carried on, and in a later fight, got possibly the biggest hit I have ever been in person for. Chaos fought a force also called the Throngler, but Chaos started the fight with a dead drive side. That is, until it went weapon to weapon with the Throngler and kicked the Throngler into the roof so dang hard that it knocked a safety sign off the arena. The Throngler, upon landing, then turned a bit before exploding and catching on fire. Yeah, that was insane. Plenty of people thought that it was a battery, but I was pretty sure it was actually one of their speed controllers blowing up. When you've been around the sport as long as I have, you'll be able to recognize what smokes or catches fire. If it's a motor smoking, you'll smell the enamel from the wires immediately. If it's a battery, it'll be a hell of a bigger burn with tons of toxic, deadly lipo smoke. And when it's a speed controller that smokes or blows up, it's a quick smoke, a burst of flames, and then it's over. After the Throngler is removed from the sand bucket, or robots are always thrown in when they catch fire, the builder/driver disassembled the robot, and sure enough, it was exactly what I suspected. His driver, you see, completely exploded. And, yeah, it was a mess inside. It melted the electrical tape it was wrapped in, melted the solder holding the wires off, and most terrifyingly, partially melted the battery. Yikes. Now, I think it was just the outer case of the battery, not any of the actual cells, so the battery might have been safe to keep using if you had to. That said, obviously it's a terrible idea to use a battery that's been damaged. I certainly wouldn't do that unless I had no other option. Oh, and I also just forgot to mention something else about speed controller failures. You can also tell when a speed controller blows up, because when they do, they absolutely reek. And needless to say, the controller stunk. So much so that I and other people could smell it straight out of the fight. Nope, I got no clue why the Throngler's ESC blew up. I guess that massive hit either shorted something or snapped a joint, overloading the ESC and caused it to explode. I guess the funniest thing that happened on that massive hit... the last thing that happened on that massive hit was Chaos bent the Throngler's weapon, though considering the weapon was titanium, I'm not really a lot surprised. The thing that did surprise me the most, to be perfectly honest, was that Chaos had a dead drive side at the start, but after that big hit, its drive was working again. Well, I guess that's what you call percussive maintenance. I amused myself. Sorry for another tangent, I just had to mention that. Anyway, with that win, Scrapper 3 moved on to the Winners Bracket Finals, which it's never done before. Just 2, or possibly 3, more fights than Scrapper 3 would take first place for the first time ever. The next fight was another rematch, this time against Mayhem. Now, Scrapper S3 and Mayhem have quite a bit of history. The first time we met was at Robotica 2023, where Scrapper S3 won, and then again at Cougar Fall Cup 2023, where me cutting weight from my wheel guards backfired as Mayhem punched right through them and got one of my tires, taking a kinda sketchy win. I put a whole exposition description of that fight, leaving us 1-1 against each other. Now, Mayhem is a Peter Park kid just like Chaos is. Why am I bringing this up, you ask? Well, Mayhem is driven by Greg Clark, and Chaos is driven by his daughter. So basically, Mayhem and Chaos had the same bot, just different drivers. Now, this fight I was very motivated to win, as you might guess. Not just because I was so close to taking a first place for the first time, but as revenge for my loss at the Cougar Fall Cup. The strategy was the same as the last 2 fights, so I'm not going to repeat myself. Let's just get into the action!
can't drive this, Dylan.
That was sick.
Oh, they're shaking hands. Good job, Dylan.
Well, that went pretty well. Now, I have a few things to say. Firstly, you might hear some buzzing noise after the first few hits. That was because my weapon shaft was bent from the last fight, and while it seemed fine, evidently it wasn't, so the weapon was dragging slightly on the floor. Though it wasn't too big of a problem. What was a problem was getting flipped upside down, as, yet again, my forks prevented my weapon from hitting the wall, so I could easily self-right. And of course, I ended up parking myself on my own side, but luckily managed to get back down. I also managed to get Mayhem stuck on his front and just left him, hoping for an easy KO, but he managed to get free as well. Fortunately, I actually managed to damage his right drive side, so he couldn't take advantage of me being stuck upside down. After some attempts at trying to gyro back upright, I just gave up and decided to just go after him upside down, as if I can get a hit on him, I can self-right, and eventually do. It was after self-righting, though, that I noticed my weapon seemed a little, anemic. The reason actually turned out the reason for that was the repeated huge hits stretched the belt and caused it to slacken and skip, slowing the spin-up down. That and the weapon was dragging on the floor, which impaired the spin-up even more. I was eventually able to get it up to speed, though, and got a few more hits before my weapon ran out of energy and stopped, leaving us in a pushing battle at the end. I surprisingly didn't do too much to Mayhem aside from taking a few chunks out of his chassis and weapon, but I also didn't take too much damage. In fact, the only real damage I took was the bent shaft and slackened belt, as well as one of the screws holding the weapon pulley on the weapon shearing in half. Thankfully, the repairs were simple and easy. Remove and replace the damaged parts. I also worked my battery overtime and drained about 2 volts out of it, which is a lot. I think it would have been good for another minute, but it would have been drained below safe voltage. It also got really hot inside the robot, so I had to leave it open to cool off for about 10 minutes. With that win, Scrapper 3 was the winner of the winner's bracket. All I had to do was win one more time, and first would be mine. But even if I lost my next match, I'd still have to lose another time to not get first. And the winner of the loser's bracket was Mayhem. Okay. He did make one tweak before this fight, though. Now I was switching to a different, heavier weapon that was symmetric instead of asymmetric. Still, shouldn't be that bad, right? Well, let's see how the fight went.
Countdown begins. 3, 2, 1, battle!
mistake. It's too late now, Dylan.
Tap out.
Wonderful. Well, I was doing well until he managed to punch through my belt guard and hit my pulley and belt directly, cutting the belt in and disabling my weapon. Despite getting my shit rocked so hard I couldn't see stars if I tried, I still did get some good bites out of Mayhem's weapon. But yeah, I definitely took the worst of it in this fight. My belt guard, belts, and pulley were shot, both wheel guards were mouthed out, I got a bite taken out of my back panel, got numerous chunks taken out of the top panel, got the hot glue mounted to the phone the receiver is mounted to break, had many of the screws holding the motors to the robot either break or fall out, one shaft was bent and the wheel hub was stuck on as a result, and a smoke drive motor. Or, hang on a second. Oh, at the time of writing this, or actually no, filming this, I just found out. No, the drive motor wasn't what smoked. What broke was actually a gear in the gearbox. Here's a few photos of that. See that sort of dark thing right there? That's one of the teeth. And here is the gears. And a better shot of the gear that broke. Yeah, that was completely seized. It turned out that the motor itself actually works just fine, though it gets way, way hotter than it's supposed to, so I'm guessing, a few windings overheated. But I didn't smoke a motor like I thought I did. Anyways, anyway, I rushed to try to get the robot repaired, but I had no functional spare tires, as the only spares I had left were stripped and defectively useless, so I just wrapped some rubber bands around the hub to prevent it from spinning on it. However, after about 5 minutes of scrambling, I was informed that Mayhem's driver had forfeited due to his drive being broken, which turns out was just because of a loose wire. So, Scrapper 3 was declared the winner of the second match, and therefore, after 2 whole years of effort, Scrapper 3 finally takes a first place! Woo! Sorry, got a bit too excited there, but I mean, can you blame me? After so much struggle, sometimes to the point where I was thinking of actually giving up, my efforts finally paid off. And let me tell you, the sheer satisfaction from that first place is something I won't be forgetting, at least anytime soon. I also have to thank Chris Katz for his help in improving Scrapper 3 after Robotica 2023. There's a dual seal beater, belt guard, and even weapon motor and drive were suggested by him. Sorry. I highly recommend you go check out his channel, link in the description, and his fellow beater bar, Power Surge 2. Now, while Scrapper 3 did take first, there were still some notable flaws that needed to be addressed. Firstly, the belt slackening and pulley screws shearing and bending. Luckily, this issue has already been solved, once again, by Chris. Carbon fiber nylon pulleys. Now, I did try printing some on my own printer, but the dimensional accuracy wasn't good enough, resulting in the belt having way too much tension and the motor being unable to spin the weapon. I'll try maxing out the print accuracy and minimizing printing speed to hopefully improve the accuracy. Otherwise, I'll just get them professionally printed. Second thing, the wheel guards mouthing out and coming off. Again, that's an easy fix. I never designed any holes in the print as I was just too lazy to bother intricately measuring the frame to get the proper height for the holes, and figured, I'll just drill them myself. Unfortunately, that meant the holes had no support around them, so under high loads, the print would just split along the layer lines, widening the holes and allowing them to come free. The solution? Big surprise! Actually designed holes in the prints, layer lines wouldn't split. Third problem was the belt guard getting punched through and my belt sniped. I think the issue simply was there wasn't enough infill. In fact, I think the print was only like 20% with the cubic infill, so I'm changing the settings to 60% with gyroid, which is one of the best strength to weight ratio infills. The fourth problem is the drive on the original Scrapper 3. As I said, maybe the receiver has simply met its time, though it might have connected something wrong. I'm not sure. I guess I'll replace the receiver and see if that fixes the problem. The fifth and final problem is self-righting, as the wheel guards make it impossible to gyro back upright, as far as I can tell, and the forks prevent my weapon from hitting the wall to self-right in that way. I guess the best solution for this is simple. Don't run the forks unless I actually need them, or maybe redesigning the wheel guards to expose more of the tire when Scrapper 3 is upside down to make gyroing back upright easier. Though that will mean the tire is more exposed and the bot is upside down, making it easier to gyro off. But, in spite of all those issues that need to be addressed though, honestly, I'm happy to say that Scrapper 3 still is finally fully dialed in at long last, and he'll come back even deadlier at its next event. And well, that's all I really have to say to y'all. Anyways, if y'all enjoyed this event recap, like, comment, subscribe, you already know whatever YouTuber tells you to do. Anyways, that's all from me, and I'll see y'all around. So long, folks!